Biden concedes his COVID stimulus checks fueled a spike in inflation. It changes people's lives, but what happens if there's nothing to buy and you get more money to compete for getting goods? It creates a real problem, Biden said. Okay. So first of all, even if you take what he's saying at face value, the COVID relief package was the main problem. Well, there were a number of COVID relief packages, and the overwhelming majority of the aid went directly to corporations. But if you were to blame big spending, the bulk of the blame goes at these giant corporate welfare checks, corporate subsidies that we hand out. So even if you are going to blame big spending, talk about corporate welfare first. Talk about that. Remember that? All the money that was going, like the airline industry, for example, and then they turned around and laid people off anyway. You got billions of dollars, so you wouldn't lay people off. Then they took the money and laid people off anyway. That $1,400 check was a lifeline to a lot of people. But beyond that, listen, he's just wrong. It has nothing to do with the COVID stimulus bills. It has everything to do with the destruction of our supply chain. And that, of course, on its own has a lot to do with the pandemic. Beef monopolies, that's one thing. That's one thing that's leading to inflation. Apparently, the shipping of PPE clogged the ports in a lot of countries because they would ship the PPE and then they would have to send it back to China, and then those ports got clogged. Of course, we're talking about in LA now, there's so many ships that, there's just basically like a traffic jam at the port. And so we have a shortage of supplies. That's what's leading to the inflation. So what do you do about that? Well, look, long run solution, very simple. You need to bring back American manufacturing because we rely on so many other nations for so many goods. We rely on other nations for many goods that we can create here. And as soon as a pandemic hit, we realized, hey, we probably should have been more self-sufficient. But that went out the window in 2.5 minutes. People stopped thinking about it. People stopped talking about it. No politicians doing anything to substantively address that.